Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. My name is Alberto with the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism. Welcome to another MWIH watch party. Hopefully, you've been tuning in and catching these watch parties live, or perhaps the recording. But if you have tuned in, welcome. If you are catching us for the first time, welcome as well. We get to watch some of the great content featured at the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism. We'll be featuring herbs for sleep, anxiety, and nervousness this evening. And this is from the Beginner Family Herbal course, which is with Matthew Wood and Phyllis Delight. It is a course that is jam-packed with practical knowledge, with great anecdotes and case histories of problems that come up in everyday to-day life, whether you're no matter how big your family is, family, I think Matthew and Phyllis were saying a family of one or more, which of course includes everyone. And we're going to be featuring one of the classes. And of course, we also have an exclusive 25% off discount that we'll be posting in the comments for you as well, in case you want to take advantage of the course itself, or maybe the Library Plus A to Z, which includes 94 other courses. We'll be showing you all of that later, but we're going to get right into herbs for sleep, anxiety, and nervousness. Of course, these are all things that when functioning properly are great, but we all get nervous. We all lose out on sleep sometimes. We all have anxiety, I think, from time to time. But when we start experiencing it all the time or frequently, then it's an issue. And luckily, there's herbs that can help. And we're going to get right into it here and see what Matthew and Phyllis have to say about it. I'm here with Lee Arnoldy. And in case you want to say hi, Lee, before we get into the show.
Hi, Lee. Not sorry.
Yeah, that's great. So, of course, chime in. We welcome you to let us know if you're out there and you're perhaps have used some of the herbs that Matthew and Phyllis have mentioned or are going to mention, or if you are experiencing sleep issues, anxiety, nervousness, and you've had success with herbs before. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to connect with you. We'd love to know what kind of herbs you're using out there, and what type of stories there are as well. The case histories, as Matthew says repeatedly, we learn through stories, and so I find those case histories so enriching because A, they're entertaining, B, you remember them, and that is so important when it comes to anything, but herbal medicine, right? When you start experiencing something, you want to be able to remember it like this, and stories help us do that. So we'll discuss more, but without further delay, here we go. So without further delay, I will hand it off to the instructors for Class 4 of the Complete Family Herbal, Sleep, Anxiety, and Nervousness.
Greetings. Thank you, Alberto. And greetings, Phyllis. I'm actually kind of tired, so hopefully I don't fall asleep. All that yard work on and on and on in the spring here, but I kind of love it, so that's okay too.
Being outdoors, being with the plants.
Yep. This is actually a very good topic for beginning herbalists because it is nervines were the easiest system to understand. So in herbal education, so when I was young, I didn't have a mentor like you, Phyllis, your grandmother, to sit in on or be shown things and more general medical questions. And so working in the herb store, what you get treated to, what you enjoy, learning from life is very simple things like which we're going over in this course and in the first aid class. So people are injured, coughs, colds, fevers, flus. You see that more in an herb store than in a practice, I find. But we had those, and then nervines. The nervous system is about the easiest system of all to understand. I don't want to use. I kind of want to use the word master into master. The beginner can master this subject the nervous system, anxiety, insomnia, etc., from pretty on early in their career, because it's just, we all have a nervous system and we all see it in ourselves and others. So it's really kind of the beginning, the first level of, it's in the, for the beginning herbalist. And yeah, you will never not need these herbs. And Dorothy Hall of Australia, she said always to put one nervine in a formula. Just thinking everybody's, I don't know, I guess if somebody was too sleepy and falling asleep all the time, maybe I wouldn't put a nervine in there, but there's hardly anybody like that. So that's a general, so all these things that we're talking about tonight, insomnia, sleeplessness, anxiety, and nervousness, are all those subjects kind of, under headings. So got any introductory remarks and thoughts?
Well, I think that sleep is elusive to a lot of people. Yeah. It's one of the most common, as you said, in the health food stores, it's one of the most common things people come in for. I need something to help me sleep. I just can't get to sleep at night, or I fall asleep and then I wake up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and I can't go back to sleep for a while. So I think we've all experienced those time periods where we have trouble falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And here we're going to talk about what we can do about that.
Yeah, I also was happening to listen on the radio as I was driving around yesterday, and they were discussing insomnia in more with aging, that as you age, you get less and less good sleep. For one thing, you might get up during the night more to pee more. I think by age 60, men at least, and I think women often are 2 to 3 times a night, and then it can proceed from there a bit. And and I know certainly when I'm nervous, sometimes I have to pee 5, 6 times a night. And there is a definite problem if your kidneys don't calm down, get out of sympathetic, then you have to pee a lot and you feel nervous. And geez, what would be a good remedy for that? I just very much note that, sumac, actually, that's not something I normally very seldom ever give that out, but sumac is for nervousness, peeing at night, waking at night. Yeah, and fearing having to pee also. And so is Shazandra. Shazandra cuts down on excess peeing, running to the bathroom, and is an insomnia remedy. I've used that some. So I wasn't planning on talking about that, but boom, throw that right in.
Right at the beginning.
So my favorite insomnia remedy of all time is Dr. Christopher's insomnia remedy, which is to walk on grass.
Wow.
He said, I know I mentioned this in some class recently, but he said, when you are getting all your inspiration from above, coming down into your head, your creative influences, and it's up to you to manifest those creative influences. And that's your calling in life, your vocation, your calling. Yes, angels, I hear my calling. Thank you. And if that gets blocked, which it can just by walking around in footwear, in artificial footwear and artificial surfaces, because it has to, where does this energy get grounded? It gets grounded into the earth. And that includes not only your activities, which are all here on earth, but it also gets grounded into the earth, kind of literally too, energetically. So he said, if you have insomnia and constipation, you need to take your shoes off and walk around on the earth. And I read that and I went out and walked around on the earth in my constipation, and thinking I'm seldom constipated, but I was both those things. And so I walked around and it worked.
Wow. Yeah. I will remember that little tip. I'd never heard that one before.
Yeah, that's fun. So Dr. Christopher's generations past, when we were young herbalists, he was still with us. He was he was definitely much older. Like someone like William Lasassier lived until like 2003 or so, but Dr. Christopher died in the 1980s. He was already in his 70s, died in an accident. Yeah, so he was really in another generation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And William Lasassier, I learned, so I'm giving out how I learned, which was to differentiate different kinds of insomnia. That really helps because you're not just, oh golly, skull cap, passion flower. Like you have some idea which category things fit in. I'll go over this real just sleep onset difficulty, which he called heart insomnia, because that's Chinese medicine. And heart insomnia is like the heart stores the Shen or mind, and it can't settle it down. Then there's another heart one, heart blood deficiency. So a sleep onset difficulty, that's when you can't fall asleep. Heart blood deficiency, you fall asleep, but you wake up middle of the night, 11, 1, 2, 3, and have trouble falling asleep. The Chinese call that heart blood deficiency. This really helped me to know about this because they say there's not enough blood to the spirit, so it flies up. And their idea of the spirit is the mind or spirit, the kind of that creative thing Dr. Christopher was talking about. So boom, it's flying up. And actually, because there's only one remedy, hawthorn berry was what William recommended. And I have used that quite a few times. I have discovered that the uncooked Romania root has all the symptoms, and it produces the set of symptoms, these blood deficiency. So it would be homeopathically a remedy for that. So small doses, I've tried this once and it did work for somebody. I can't remember but that's kind of not in the books, but kind of that waking up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any remedies for that? Yeah.
Well, I was, just to throw in a little information, have you ever worked with or read anything about biphasic sleep? Well, biphasic sleep is what they think humans used to do pre-industrial revolution. So biphasic sleep is where you fall asleep and then you do wake up around 12 or 1 and you stay awake for an hour or so, and then you fall back to sleep. And they actually think that was kind of an original sleep pattern. So that our sleep is divided into 2 different parts. And this was what they consider very, very common. And they also and think that to some extent, people who have sleep difficulties is maybe their body and their mind trying to get back to sleeping in 2 segments. Which was, so then we have the Industrial Revolution and everybody has to be at work at the same time. You have to work all day long. You don't get a siesta. So then we have school, we have jobs. And so we have this pattern of sleeping a certain number of hours a night, like 7 to 9 or whatever it might be. And so it's really given me food for thought. So maybe like in Spain and Portugal, where they still do a 2 to 3 hour siesta every day, and then you only sleep like 6 hours a night, and then you have 3 hours in the afternoon. So some of the latest research I found says that you don't have to sleep. If we weren't kind of ancestrally, we didn't sleep these long lengths of time. We slept through 1 to 2 full sleep cycles, and then we awakened, and then we kind of like stayed awake. We might get up and use the bathroom. We might get a snack. We might sit and do something for a while, and then we go back to sleep for another 1 or 2 sleep cycles. And a sleep cycle generally runs about 90 minutes. on average 90 minutes. So it's really given me this different food for thought about how we look at sleep, and I'm beginning to like change my view of, do we have to sleep this many hours at a time? Is, and looking at maybe biphasic, left alone to the world, that's how I would sleep. If I didn't have to do anything else, I would fall asleep, and then I would at certain point in time I would wake up, and I'd be awake a while. And then I would fall back asleep and sleep a little while longer. So it's really given me some food for thought on maybe I'm thinking about looking at this a little bit different.
So much to discuss there. Wow. Like, do you ever experience that, Lee, waking up in the middle of the night and being, a little bit wired, or feeling like you need a break from sleep?
No, I don't know if it's a break, but it's certainly awake. And it's a new perspective on it, because I was thinking, yes, I wake at 1. And I always thought it was a liver, or what Matthew's talking about, that you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't get back to sleep for a while, which is, that's what he mentioned Hawthorne for. And, like the Shen, the whole mind. So I found that I thought that was one of the reasons, but it's really nice to hear another perspective. Like maybe that's a natural pattern for some folks. And it does seem like sleep is like different strokes for different folks, which is kind of good. Like if you're in an okay place with it, maybe that's all right. But if you're not, then it looks like there's herbs that can help with that sleep. I don't know. I don't know if you've experienced it or not.
Yeah, no, definitely have. I feel like for a good while after hitting my 20s, that was kind of the pattern. Just asleep for a while, then I'd wake up, and I don't think I'd have a snack, but I'd just be up, and I'd have, I'd read sometimes, and just kind of like just think sometimes, and just kind of be awake, laying there, not really asleep. But I had always wondered about why that happened. So yeah, maybe a possibility there. Nowadays with kids, I kind of just sleep when I can.
But, I was gonna say, like, not there's kids here. So.
Yeah, totally. It changes, life changes. And so it's interesting to hear Phyllis and Matthew speak about that, because, we have this idea that like you sleep in a big chunk, 7-8 hours, hopefully. And when it's not that, a lot of us, myself included, at times are like, I need more sleep, or, so I'm curious if you're out there, let us know what your sleep cycles are like, or if Marie is saying, I used to wake up at 3 a.m. all the time, but I don't anymore. And especially if I drink chamomile tea. Wonderful. Yeah. So that helps you get through the whole night in one big chunk. That's nice. And I'm assuming you find that more restful, Marie. Hopefully you can let us know. Because yeah, some people say if they don't get their 7-8 hours, that it's right. It's not restful. So,
yeah, if you're okay with it, like, I guess, that's the thing, is if you come out feeling rested, great. No, I like my solid, like, it has to be a certain amount of solid in a row. Yep.
Yeah, great. Well, let's get back to class. Matthew's going to be talking about mental focus, circulation, and here we go.
And so, and then they have trouble focusing during the day, and that's a heart blood deficiency as well. There's less circulation of the brain, evidently. So there's a similarity to what the old doctors, I think they called it cerebral anemia. Actually, they actually had a name for it too, pretty much the same symptoms. But very similar, but slightly different. In fact, I would have included this under that. They probably did originally, but I've learned it's different. That's low blood sugar. So people that they get their blood sugar crashes, and they actually, and then they get a sympathetic excess, like boom, wake up. And these are the people who wake up with a start, adrenaline burst, could have a little nightmare, serious nightmare, and sudden waking. And they really have to attend to very simple, take some honey in your tea before
Right.
bed, because that has a longer sugar thing. And it's like, yeah, okay, it may be they last a sleep cycle like that, but they wake with that adrenaline and it's like unpleasant. So, yeah, so that's another good one. Okay.
I actually kind of like valerian for the situation you're describing.
That's okay.
Yeah. So valerian kind of helps the body to relax. Of course, this is if you are a person valerian works well on and doesn't overstimulate, right? Right. But it calms the nervous system. It reduces constrictions in the muscles and tightness. So you've got good blood flow in a more prone position. So it's like one of my favorites for this kind of situation of what you might call part blood deficiency of.
Okay, so that's more heart blood deficiency, but not low blood sugar necessarily.
No, I totally agree with you on the honey thing.
Yeah.
You know, a spoon of honey before bed can work wonders.
Yeah, so simple. Yeah,
Yeah.
you could do a spoon, or you could do some kind of, add it to some herbs that are nice for sleep. Yeah.
Chamomile, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, something the bees like.
Yeah, Melissa. Good.
Oh, that'd be a good one. That actually fit with the heart blood deficiency. It's such a heart remedy.
Yeah.
See, so again, following the Chinese and liver insomnia, liver's supposed to store more blood at night. And actually what this means is that actually a remedy that would be good here is agrimony, that the hepatic artery opens and expands. You go into more parasympathetic, like when you eat and digest your parasympathetic, you go from sympathetic to parasympathetic. At night, you do that too. And if you can't relax, probably during the day when you're eating and stuff, you're probably going to have similar problems at night.
That makes so much sense about the relaxing during the day, and agrimony makes so much sense. But back to chamomile, Marie mentioned it, and then of course Phyllis mentioned it, and I love that because chamomile is one of those herbs that so many people know about. Even non-herbalists, non-herbal people know what chamomile is, and they it can be so helpful for everyone. Especially, I've used it for myself as well. Yep. Also with kids, sometimes when my kids don't sleep, that's the one thing that just helps them relax, get into parasympathetic, and just mellow out and go to sleep and stay asleep. And that's so helpful for them, but also for the parents, for any parents out there. If your kid's sleeping, you can sleep too.
Well, it's kind of like it just helps mellow out is a great word for it. I've taken it when I'm like, I am so not chill right now. I am so not mellow. Like even during the day, just to like go, and it just does. It seems to round any sharp corners. And that can mean like just being wired before sleep, or it can just be kind of like wired or just too on during the day. Chamomile's amazing. And it's delicious with honey, and I like it with oat milk. I have what I call a chamomile fog. The lavender fogs are so popular, but I really like the chamomile. And Virginia's saying, the spoonful of honey is challenging for us hypoglycemic folks. Yep. And so you might have to find and this is why we're going through a whole host of remedies too, is if that one doesn't shake out for you, maybe there's another one in this herbal tool bag that'll help get you through it too. I do find that I don't respond well to sugars myself, but honey's a little bit different. Personally, everyone's got their own threshold. So I find that, honey is more tolerable. It is I think a little bit, takes a little bit longer for your body to work through than it would with normal sugars. But everyone's got their own set of chemistry to work with too.
Yeah, in the I've wondered about that for people with hypoglycemia. I've wondered about like dandelion or something with inulin, like burdock, for example, because it's a prebiotic starch, but it's also it's a starch, so essentially it's a sugar, but one of those healthy sugars. So I'd be curious if that could help someone. I haven't experimented with it.
Longer chains of more complex type of carbohydrate type of things. Yep.
Yeah, like a nice tea. If hopefully someone can enjoy a dandelion tea. I can, but not everybody can. It's not everyone's taste. Susan's commenting here. Dr. Mandela says eat a quality fat with a banana to spread the sugar absorption out instead of it spiking all at once. Great. Thank you for your comment there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably so many ways, right? So many ways to address, and maybe that's what Phyllis was referring to during when she referred to biphasic sleep. How maybe you'd be having a snack during that break in between your two different sleep sessions. Maybe that's part of the reason why people did that.
Perhaps it is. Yeah. Good point.
All right, we're gonna get back to the show here.
Cook that I mentioned. For lethargy, blood deficiency, this is what he called a triad. And then milk thistle he also mentioned, and Chinese Seneca root, but we don't use that. We can't even get the American Seneca root anymore because it's kind of overpicked. So I don't know if you have any ideas there.
On liver insomnia?
Yeah.
I haven't really called it that. I'm not familiar with this Chinese system, but I've always thought about it more like gallbladder. Because, when we lay down to go to sleep at night, hopefully we move into parasympathetic, the liver, gallbladder, there's some bile release, and, their digestion is taking place, metabolism, absorption, all this is taking place while we sleep. So I've always thought about it as liver/gallbladder. And some people I have found who have kind of like maybe a weak gallbladder, we'll call it a weak gallbladder, also have restless leg. And it's like they're wiggling and their gallbladder is trying to release, is how I think of it. And there's a feeling of fullness on the right side. And so I've always used dandelion yellow dock for that.
Oh, okay.
And then it helps calm down that restless leg too.
Yeah, actually, skullcap would be good in there too.
Yeah, it would.
And digestive organ tension. Yeah. Okay. And by dandelion, I think you meant dandelion root. Mostly.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Let's see. So then there's kidney insomnia, which is really that. It's adrenaline. It's more than the honey problem. It's more than your blood sugar goes down. It's like you really are still in fight or flight a little bit, and you need to relax that. And I think things that strengthen. William thought hops, which is a kidney remedy, and a bedwetting remedy we're going to talk about in a while, would fit in. And I think, and it is a nervous, one of my friends from that generation, Williams, a long time ago, Linda Rydell, she said, pale, delicate children who wet the bed. Well, pale, delicate children, that's nervousness too. So we get a whole weak kidneys, constitutional type, and nervousness, hops, sleep of the dead, said William Lasassier. So there's one. And I would say, although he didn't have it on the list here, I would actually think nettles, even though just to strengthen the kidneys And Shazandra, and I have found, and this is the only explanation I have for Shazandra being able to help with sleep is, I mean, it's an astringent, focuses the mind, I guess. So you could say it's a little bit like Hawthorne that way, but it really is, astringents can be good for the kidneys to sleep, and also not have to get up and pee so much. So, and I have found, I like to give Shazandra with cherry liqueur because Shazandra tastes so terrible, but he gave it with lychee berry, which also supports the kidney. Cherry, like wild cherry, kind of thins the blood, cuts down on histamine, which is another thing that could keep you awake. I call that would kind of fit the heart insomnia, overexcitement. Well, so there are some ideas on that. I've had to deal with this myself, so I have some ideas about it. Yeah.
So something that might fit with the kidney insomnia would be people who are sensitive to oxalates. So that, because oxalates tend to get processed while we sleep, and they're irritating to the kidneys and bladder, so the body wants to get them out as quick as possible. And so then you're up and down urinating with a kind of that irritation during the night. So that would fit. Calcium and nettles would be good for that.
Yeah, I wanted to mention the sumac, which is, again...
definitely sumac.
Yeah, and William mentioned syrup of hawthorn, but I don't know for children. But I'm not sure, that may just be that may belong in a different category. So...
So where would you put agrimony? I'm kind of feeling like we're...
Yeah, well, I had not used it, but it shot out to my mind for the liver insomnia, because I feel like agrimony settles your that parasympathetic, sympathetic kind of screwed up imbalance, and it relaxes the guts and kind of times things better. And it's not generally a sleep remedy, but it is a holding the breath remedy, which, well, that's also going to be a kidney problem, because the deeper you can breathe, to breathe deeply and fully, that's a kidney thing in Chinese medicine. And in fact, things like nettles and Shazandra help with that. And so, yeah, that's kind of, so I do think, and it is a kidney and a liver remedy, so it has potential in both places there. The agrimony person really stands out. The tortured, the pain hidden under facade. Oh yeah, it's so nice to see you, like, oh yeah, or like, I'm so suave and sophisticated. You should be seeing me, Right. Let's see. And we had, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yes, Pierce added, the kidneys capture the qi and bring down the qi. That's the Chinese theory, really beautiful theory. The depth of respiration is due to the kidneys. So that first birth, like, oh, there you are, leaving your essence, your mother, it's the first breath of life. And then the last, always that sigh, letting go. That's always the lung breath out. The outward exhalation is the lungs, which the spirit, the death spirit lives there, the mortal soul that knows you're going to die. Oh, it's going to end. Oh, geez, I was having such a good time. Oh, we're all going to die. Oh, okay, that's the lung out breath. But
the analogies that Matthew uses, that certainly helps to remember. But I just wanted to throw in a little story of, years ago, I used to have to get up to go to the bathroom in the night several times per night. And it was so disruptive to sleep. It was incredibly disruptive. and nettles and sumac worked great. I used a nettle root and a sumac tincture, combination of the two, and I just did a few drops a few times a day, and within 3 to 4 weeks, it was resolved. And I could not believe the difference in how I felt during the day, just from the amount of sleep I was getting. And it's interesting because I could always get back to bed right away. Like I'd go to the bathroom, I'd come back to bed right away, like fall asleep right away. I mean, and but for whatever reason, just having to interrupt the sleep, I think it was probably interrupting my sleep mid sleep cycle, so I wasn't getting full sleep cycles, and so I was just exhausted, and it made such a big difference.
Yeah, that would. I can't imagine. That would just you'd feel rotten. You don't get into that. Yeah. Yeah. I've had those nights too. Not necessarily, but just like wake and sleep and wake and sleep, and that's no fun. Like you feel like you absolutely got zero sleep. It's kind of like, yeah, you've set the person that sets the alarm for, so often, like, how rotten you feel too when you try to get back to sleep and the alarm goes off. Like you feel like you've accomplished nothing. Can you imagine if your sleep schedule's like that? So yeah, I'm a skullcap girl myself. I will testify to the whole, like if you've got like, the leg twitching before bed or whatever, that skullcap. I mean, we're talking like you feel it and you're like, oh no, like, is this going to be a thing? Like, is this going to take it? And like, you might get one extra twitch and that's it. Like, I love it. So I will definitely, it's funny. Everyone's got their brand of nerving. It's just like, you just have to find it and go out there. Like, Robin's saying, like, I like passion flower and magnesium, and it's like, yep. And I love magnesium too. And for me, I love Epsom salts and stuff. So that's, another form. But yeah, I'm a magnesium girl and also a skull cap. So yeah, if you've got your brand of nervine, give it a shout out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty about herbs, right? There's so many herbs that can address the same thing in a slightly different way. And certain herbs will work better for certain people. I remember there's a class in the Herbs A to Z course, which is not this course here, but it is one of the longest standing courses at the Institute. And one of the classes there is on St. John's wort, 2 hours on St. John's wort. Yeah. And Cynthia Coons, one of the guest teachers, she talks about making St. John's wort infused oil, and how she found it was the only thing that helped her restless legs. And so she would put the oil on every night, and her legs would be, restful, and she'd be able to rest and go to sleep and no problem. And anytime she ran out, it came right back. So it's so interesting. And that's, I remember when I first heard that, thinking like, I wouldn't think of St. John's wort for restless legs, but there you go. It's a different use for that I hadn't heard of. And so that's pretty interesting.
That's awesome. So yeah.
I saw that you commented here that you like the taste of hop water. Yeah, water.
I do. I don't like to drink bubbly things, but sometimes you just kind of want something a little different. And there's plenty of like sparkling hop waters out there, lots of different varieties, and it just does kind of, once again, rounds the sharp corners. It's great for mixing into things in the summer too. So if the heat's getting to you as well, hops.
Nice. Yeah, I've used hops with a client for restless legs, and that worked well. Hop tincture before bed. Yeah, and Ree is saying magnesium for me. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's get back to a little bit of the show, and then we'll wrap it up. And we love hearing from you. I love hearing all the different comments and what people are saying. It's just so interesting. So yeah, if any other remedies come to mind, you're welcome to chime in. I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah. Some of these things are such simple observations. Yeah. Okay. So then back to the biggie. I thought I'd do some of those other types first. And there are notes on this, although my notes are kind of in turmoil. but I'll try to make this available because we haven't had a class on sleep, I have to presume, because my notes are so poor. But, you know, getting them into categories like that really helps. Okay, but sleep onset difficulty. This is what we mostly think of as insomnia. Can't fall asleep, lying there in bed at night. And what remedy would you think of first, Phyllis?
It could be passion flower, valerians, American ginseng. What?
I was going to let people bet on which she'd say first. And I figured it was like 6-1. It was going to be passion flower.
That was at the top of the list.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's see. Okay. Yes. Passion flower. And, let's see. Geez, I lost part of my notes here. There it is. Okay. Can't stop the mind. Often just overthinking, clear linear thinking, William said. Probably the most famous category in this thing. It's actually physically relaxing as well as mentally relaxing. So that fits together and makes it even better. And do you want to talk about passion flower a little bit?
Yeah, I will.
I mean, all of us use it, but it's really a Southern native.
Yes. I've been like nurturing one coming up in my yard, for the spring, watching it just come out of the ground and really thinking about it. Passion flower is a Southern herb. I don't know how far north it grows. It's semi-tropical. Does it grow in Virginia?
Well, it may grow. Let's see. The furthest north that I've ever heard of anybody coaxing it was our friend Trilby in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That would be zone 5. She had it growing between the house and the sidewalk. That wasn't actually the south side of the house. That would have helped some, maybe. But that lasted 5-6 years. Then it died in a hard winter. So that's so I would say 6, Virginia, zone 6. If it's not in the wild, it's certainly going to be something that you could grow around the house, etc. Yeah.
Okay.
Passion flower. I would love to be able to grow passion flower. I grew up in Colombia, and so passion flower was abundant. Also, of course, passion fruit, and both of those are just wonderful. But yeah, even just looking at the flower is relaxing.
It's a little bit of a labyrinth. Yeah, requires a little bit of meditative process. Yeah, it does not grow well in these parts in zone 4. If you find one, it's pretty sad specimen usually, or it's had a lot of help, a lot. But they're cool. They're super cool.
Yeah, they're super cool, and I think Robin had mentioned passion flower. Mm-hmm. I know Robin's in Ontario. Robin has chimed in before. I know she lives in Ontario, way south from where I am. But I'm super curious, Robin, if you're growing passion flower, and if you are, how awesome. Good for you.
Does it live in a little bubble everywhere it goes?
Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, passion flower is definitely one of my favorites. Well, thank you, everyone. We're going to show you where you can find, and we did paste the link in the chat here in the comments. Ori is chiming in. I'm growing passion flower in a pot inside. Great. I'm in zone 5. It's looking pretty sad, though. Well, fair enough. At least you're trying.
We're rooting for you. Yeah, we're rooting for you.
Go passion flower. Yeah, we're going to show you where you can find this course. And of course, with the link in the comments, you'll get 25% off the whole course. Or if you like, you can also access through the library plus A to Z. We'll show you how to find that in a second as well. Just give me a second here. There we go. So beginner family herbal home remedies is mentioned. And of course, take your time to peruse the course page so you can get to know all about it. But there's 5 whole classes, over 10 hours of teaching in this course alone. And that's just the that's just there's documents as well that Matthew and Phyllis have provided. But as you can see, Matthew and Phyllis broke it down. And as mentioned before, it's home remedies for the family of one or more. And so these are ailments or issues that come up from time to time, sometimes on the daily, but common things that we've all experienced at home and that you can address with herbs. So it is so useful to know to have some herbs in your back pocket, so to speak, that you can pull out and use in these situations. Class 1 talks about skin, teeth, and gums. And as you can see, there's several different ailments listed here. Class 4 talks about sleep, anxiety, and nervousness. Going out of order here. Class 2, basic first aid and musculoskeletal injuries. We featured this in a watch party last week, and you'll still be able to find that recording on the Facebook page and the Learn Herbal Wisdom Facebook group. So you can check out that watch party as well. Class 3, seasonal and food allergies and acute respiratory conditions. Incredibly helpful, as I mentioned. Class 4, which is today's content. And then Class 5 takes you through all the life stages: babyhood, childhood, adulthood, elder years, and more acute issues, and a few hints for pets. So really, there's something for all members of the family here. And you'll also learn how to evaluate the situation, good herbal preparations, what kind of form of remedy to take, and dosing amounts. And then, of course, you have a little bit more of a breakdown here. And down below, you'll see that this is a certificate course. So when you finish the course successfully, you unlock the certificate, which you can download directly to your computer. You can print it out and keep track of your accreditation hours if that's important to you. 15 accredited hours for this course. So it is definitely such a great course. Cannot recommend it enough. And as mentioned, the link in the chat will apply the coupon at checkout. So you'll be able to see the price here. This is the full price. And as mentioned, you can do the pay once option. That's the Beginner Family Herbal Home Remedies course on its own. And you get access to the course and all the learning materials for 1 year. Or you can do the subscription Library Plus A to Z, which gives you access to this course as well as 94 other courses. And that's monthly. So you can be subscribed for 1 month, 2 months, for as long as you like, and gain access to everything. And for the subscription, the coupon applies month to month. So you lock in those savings month to month, which is important to mention. But just to show you, you'll click on enroll. And after you fill out your information, or if you have an account, you can log in by clicking on this green icon there. But the link will be, or the coupon will be applied at checkout. And so you see the difference in price there. And if you're curious about the Library Plus A to Z and you want to see what else is included, you can go to Home, scroll down, and you'll see the Library Plus A to Z here. And you'll get to read all about it here. But just to give you an idea of all the courses that are included, 90 courses plus the Beginner Family Herbal, it's so much content. It's incredible. And so there's something for all levels of herbalists, but also depending on what you're experiencing or what you're trying to address, there's probably something for you in here. There's some history courses like A Voyage with Culpeper. There's a few other history ones. There's medical astrology, animal medicines, of course, B12 intrinsic factor and methylation, the Beginner Family Herbal. You have great courses by Phyllis, like Benefits of Body Work, Moving Your Body, some folk and ethnic type of courses like Black Folk Herbalism. Then you have Body Types and Constitution, so assessment style courses, Botany, COVID and Friends, which talks about COVID, mRNA, as well as all sorts of different respiratory conditions. Then you have the central nervous system. And I'll let you continue to go through all the courses. There's 6 courses on the female reproductive system alone. There's also a male reproductive system course. There's herb walks, herbal dosages, tonics, guide to skin health, so endocrine system. Herbs A to Z is mentioned. That's where the St. John's wort class that I mentioned lives. And so more. We're halfway through here, scrolling through all the different courses. but there are so many courses to really dive into. So the link provided in the comments will apply the discount at checkout, whether you go for the Beginner Family Herbal course or whether you go for the Library Plus A to Z. But there's always, always room for learning, especially with such important things like sleep. Just going back to before, like if your sleep is off, like it can throw off your entire health. It affects your day-to-day life, and it makes everything certainly more difficult and more challenging, and slowly, everything falls out of place. So it's so important. And Samantha's asking, is that price in USD? It is in USD, Samantha. And of course, if you have any questions, let us know at hello@whatherbs.com. We'll be more than happy to help you out. You can send us any questions you have there. And of course, you can check out this recording through the Learn Herbal Wisdom Facebook group, or through the Matthew Wood Institute of Herbalism YouTube account, or the Facebook page. And thank you so much for joining us, everyone. We appreciate your presence and all of the comments, all of the insights. It's nice to hear how everybody's addressing their sleep issues. And hopefully you learned a little tidbit tonight. And yeah, we'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.